Which doesn't belong and why? Let's start with Cam Newton, Josh Allen, and Kyler Murray. They were the top 3 quarterbacks in the rushing category for week 1. Which doesn't belong and why?
Well, I think I'll go with Cam Newton as far as the one that doesn't belong and why. I mean, he's the old guy that's coming off an injury, and I didn't expect him to be like, a runner in his first game back basically in, a year and a half. I know he played 2 games early last year, but he was nothing close to 100%. So that just was shocking to me, let alone we saw little inklings of this. I knew Kyler Murray in Arizona in the same place as always what they were going to do with him. Same with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I didn't know what New England was going to look like. And were they going to totally embrace all of the Cam Newton stuff right away in week 1? And they did. I think that's why I'll say he's 30. He's in his 30s. They're not. And I wasn't expecting this much, I guess, right away in week 1.
To me, the one that doesn't belong is much simpler and easier than that. We talk about the importance of keeping yourself from getting hit if you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, unlike the other 2, has that instinct. Yeah. He combines speed, agility, and awareness at a level that I've never seen.
It's pretty
for those
damn good.
3 to come together.
Right.
Because remember Mike Vick. Mike, you got to slide. I won't slide. Mark Sanchez, you got to slide. I can't slide. Right. The guy who delivers the blow along the sidelines like a Jimmy Garoppolo. You got the adrenaline. I'm just a competitor. I want to get those.
Yeah, right.
That's Carson Wentz. When I'm out there on a football field, I'm just trying to get a couple extra yards. No, Kyler Murray knows when to hit the deck. And he's not too proud to hit the deck. He'll hit the deck anywhere. He'll step out of bounds. Even after that play after he ran for third and 17, scrambled for a first down. He's on the sideline. He could have tried to keep going. No, I'm just going to slow down. I'm going to look around. I'm going to step out of bounds. It's amazing. He is moving at normal speed, and everyone else is in slow motion. And he has full mastery of his body in relation to everyone else. And that's what separates him, because he can harness his ability to run and then immediately turn it off and save himself for the next play.
Yeah, it is special. And, our man Pete Demolitis, Pete Demolitis, he put a great stat in here while you were talking. And I think this is via Danielle Jeremiah of NFL Network, who's awesome, okay? But of the 12 of 13 runs that you're talking about on Sunday, he was only tackled 1 time. All the other times he slid or ran out of bounds. He was tackled by his jersey once. So there, you're spot on. Plus, he's like half the size of Josh Allen and Cam Newton. That's why I thought you were going to go with this at first. You're going to be like, well, I'm going to take the guy that's half the other 2. But his awareness, his ability is off the charts. I mean, it's fun to watch. So, all right, good one. Where are we going next?
And it may just be necessity. It's just necessity.
Whatever,
it's
working.
When you're not a big guy, you can't afford to take a big hit from one of these guys that's twice your size.
Yeah.
All right, the next is Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, all playoff quarterbacks in 2019 who have started 0-1. Which doesn't belong and why?
Well, I'm going to look at Carson Wentz to be the guy that doesn't belong and why. Carson Wentz has more on his plate than the other 2. I'm just sorry. The other 2 have weapons and an offensive scheme around them. And, I listen, with Kirk Cousins, I don't love the Kubiak scheme, but they got a really good running back, 2 good receivers. They got pretty good tight end play. There's a lot to like there. Carson Wentz, it's just all on him. It's all on his shoulders. Oh, we're up by 17. We can't run the ball, and we can't block on the O-line, so we're just going to keep throwing with you, Carson Wentz. Hang in there. Make plays. To me, he is asked to do so much more to deliver for his football team as compared to the other 2 who are just part of a bigger scheme and part of a bigger, what do I want to say, just working machine. Wentz is the machine, and they're just trying to find ways to make him greater all the time or more ways that you can carry the team, and it's just too much at times.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kirk Cousins because we really didn't get a chance to see what he could do. He scored in the 30s, the Vikings offense did, but the defense let them down from the get-go, from the opening drive of the game, right down the field. And it was Aaron Rodgers' tour de force. And, at least Garoppolo and Wentz had some semblance of a defense. Wentz had a 17-0 lead. Garoppolo had a 10-0 lead. They at least had a fair chance to try to win the game.
Yeah.
Cousins, they did have – no, it was actually 7-3 the Vikings led for a little bit. It wasn't a touchdown on that first drive by the Packers. But still, the wheels were off before Kirk Cousins even threw more than 5 passes. and it was too late for him to make a difference by then. So I didn't think he had a fair chance to try to win the game on Sunday because the defense let them down in a way that Wentz and Garoppolo weren't let down by their defense.
I get that. You're right. They were in the hole early on. I mean, even when the game was somewhat close before that safety by Jair Alexander, Green Bay was controlling the football game. I mean, they had just messed it up to that point. But you're right. The defense was not good, and we'll see. We didn't get a true look. I agree with you there.
Next up, a trio of surprise 1-0 teams, the Jaguars, the Washington football team, and the Arizona Cardinals. Which doesn't belong and why?
Well, this is a tough one here. I guess the football team is the one I'm going to sit here and say they don't belong and why. Just because I didn't know what to expect in their football game as far as I kind of knew what Gardner Minshew was. We know what Kyler Murray is and that team. Washington, so many new parts. Dwayne Haskins, his offseason, wasn't anointed the starter till late in August, all those things. What's he going to look like? They're down 17-0, overcoming that. You hear about Dwayne Haskins, and the halftime being a vocal leader. I guess I just had the most questions about them or what they were as a football team going into this, and they were the most surprising. I didn't expect Jacksonville to win, but I knew what Gardner Minshew was, and I guess when I just look at Washington, I was totally clueless about them, and we saw defense is for real. Dwayne Haskins is growing as a player and getting better, and they've got a decent stable of running backs. Do you go, they could be a real pain in the butt for teams, and they're just not going to be blown out on a weekly basis. They're going to hang in there and annoy teams.
We disagree on all of them so far. I say Arizona because I think Arizona is the best of the three teams.
They are that.
And the toughest of the divisions. They may be the least likely to make the playoffs because of where they are, and they may be the best of the three teams that we've mentioned. And I'm looking ahead at the Cardinals' schedule. They've got the Washington football team at home this weekend. Then they have the Lions at Carolina, at the Jets, culminating in a Monday night game at Dallas. They could be 5-0 going into that Cowboys game.
Yes, they could. You're right. I mean, there's no roster there that you look at that you go, oh, well, they're better than the Cardinals. No, it's pretty even throughout there. This week will be fun. Watching that front four or the 5 first-rounders of the football team chase around Kyler Murray, that'll be pretty cool, and it'll be a challenge, certainly. Last week he did it.
Look at that schedule, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Look at that schedule.
Ooh.
It is win as many games as you can before the turn and then hold on to your butts on the back end.
Yeah, it's insane on the back end. I mean, that really is. That's like murderer's row there. From week 6 on, they're gonna be the lesser team on the field in just about every game other than the Dolphins and the Giants, to where I just go, hey, on paper, yeah, I don't think the Cardinals are on the level with some of those other teams we see on the schedule.
All right, 3 members of the Jets, the quarterback Sam Darnold, the head coach Adam Gase, and running back Le'Veon Bell, who was placed on injured reserve yesterday. And remember, injured reserve this year, not as drastic as in past years. You can come back after 3 weeks. Le'Veon Bell's got the hamstring problem. Bell, Gase, Darnold, which doesn't belong and why?
Le'Veon Bell, to me, I mean, 1, first off, he's hurt and not playing. 2, he's the one that I look at that just the most underwhelming of the group. Listen, I know we can question all of them. Like, I get that. But Adam Gase, a lot of his issues were set up by prior people that were there that he had nothing to do with. So, okay, there's that. Sam Darnold, he's a little bit of a part of that conversation too. Again, lack of offensive weapons. The team hasn't been built well. They've had to reorganize everything here. And then, of course, Le'Veon Bell is part of why the team isn't built well. They've overpaid. He hasn't performed at all. And honestly, out of this group, he's the only headache off the field. I mean, he's not like a jerk, but he always seems to stir the pot in some sort of way, or his name gets talked about like every other week. And I think that's why he doesn't belong.
Well, and I look at it this way. You mentioned that Adam Gase is dealing with issues that preceded his tenure. The Le'Veon Bell is one that happened on his watch, but it wasn't his doing because Mike McCagnon, the former GM, was determined to go get this guy and overpay for him when Gase quite possibly was saying, don't do it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Bell literally doesn't belong. It's time for them to move on from him. I think this hamstring thing is the last nail, and I think he's going to get traded before the Tuesday after Week 8. And if he doesn't, he should be. It's going to be best for everyone involved if that's what they do.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.